It's Thursday, July 9th. Welcome aboard to this edition of Barnstable Today. I'm Kevin Friel.
And I'm Andrew Goville. Thank you very much for joining us.
We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You can check them out at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
A late-night meeting last night involving the Zoning Board of Appeals discussing specifically some issues relating to a business that is trying to start anew over in the village of Cotuit. Actually, this business has some long-time roots in the village of Cotuit. The Cotuit Oyster Company had to prove that zoning for their facility located on Little River Road dealt with the shell fishing operation for years and years and years. They had to go back to the late 19th century to prove that it had actually been a shell fishing operation in order to receive approval from the ZBA. They actually did just that in a long ZBA meeting, which concluded late Wednesday night. Pending some final agreements, this business may soon be in operation.
We also had a chance to sit down with Linda Hutchenrider, the town's clerk, to discuss all the things that are going on in her office, including dog licenses and nomination papers if you're interested in running for office. We'd like to first discuss dog licenses. If you haven't already gotten your dog license, you're behind. You need to go out and get your dog license. Linda, what can you tell us about it?
Sure. Dog licenses were to have been on your dog the first week in July. And we give just a small grace period because we do start licensing animals in the beginning of May. And we give a small grace period until the end of July for those people who just happen to forget and just come into the office or mail in your request for a dog license. And you just need to bring an up-to-date rabies certificate if indeed your animal has been vaccinated recently. And it's $7 for an animal that's spayed or neutered, and it's $10 for an animal that isn't. And unfortunately, if you didn't license your dog last year, you are required to license them for last year. You can't skip a year. There were many individuals in town who were licensing their dog one year and then skipping two and coming back for a third. And in fairness to everyone, you do have to keep a contiguous stretch of licenses. And if you've moved out of town, that's another thing. But as long as a dog is in town for 30 days, they must be licensed. So even if you have summer visitors who are spending the whole summer and they bring their little pal, Bozo or whoever, you do have to license that dog.
What can be some of the ramifications if a dog's found without a collar, and what can come of that if they don't have a license?
Well, the biggest and the best is you would ultimately end up getting a fine if the dog was found, because usually stray dogs are picked up and taken immediately to the pound. So you not only have the pound fees you have to contend with, but you also have to bring the animal up to date as far as the licenses, and the dog officer can fine you as well for not having a license. The big boost to having a license is if you have that little magical tag on your dog with a number on it, if your dog is found, 9 times out of 10, the people will call here and say, who belongs to this dog? Mm-hmm. So that's a great benefit, because we immediately look up the number and we say, please call this number, it belongs to whoever. And it helps you get your dog back a lot faster. And it is a law. That's the bottom line. Massachusetts requires that all animals be vaccinated and be licensed in the community where they live.
Great, thanks, Linda. So if you haven't gotten your dog license already, you need to get here as soon as possible to get that taken care of. Also, Linda, we'd like to talk a little bit about nomination papers. They are due at the end of this month. Let's first talk about the nuts and bolts, when the papers have to be in, and what those positions are people might look to take.
Sure. We've had individuals now come in and sign up for every single position that is going to be on the ballot this fall. It's precincts 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. It's all the even-numbered counselors are up for re-election or renomination, and the Housing Authority has 2 seats, and the School Committee has 2 seats. We were holding off to see whether or not we would have a preliminary election in September, and it looks like we will. We have had so far, for school committee, 6 individuals come forward.
Wow.
So for those 2 seats, what we have to do is narrow the field down to 4 people who will be on the ballot in November. you can have no more than 2 people running for each seat. So ultimately what will happen is we will have a preliminary in November. The top 4 vote getters will be on the ballot on November 3rd.
Linda, also accompanying the candidates' nomination papers, what sort of information do people need to have on that application? What do they have to fill out?
Basically, the only thing they have to prove is that they are indeed a registered voter here in the town of Barnstable. We check that out first of all, and then whether they're an incumbent or not, that is checked off. And then we give them a packet of information so they know how to gather signatures, how to go about the process of campaigning. If you're going to take in any money or spend any monies, you have to set up a campaign finance committee. So there's a lot of information that we do give to the individuals who are running. But the biggest thing I can recommend is if you're going to be running for a position, understand what that position is. Go to the council meetings, go to the school committee meetings, investigate what the housing authority is all about. There are a lot of people who are interested in these positions but don't know very much about it, and you can help yourself as well as the individuals out there who may or may not vote for you by understanding what it is that you're running for to begin with. So it's an interesting time. We've had a number of people who have brought back their signatures already, and they are secured to be on the ballot in November. So anyone who wants to, you really need to take out your papers before July 24th, because that's the deadline for taking them out. You have to have them back by Tuesday the 28th, I believe it is. And so those are the 2 magical dates that are coming up right now.
So the 28th date, is that when they have to have those signatures back in by? Or
the signatures have to be back here. And what I tell people is if you have your signatures out and the papers are complete or even partially complete, bring them in. And what we'll do is we'll call you and we'll say you have 100 signatures, you need 50 more, or whatever the case may be. That way you know that if you are indeed an honest candidate, want to be on the ballot, and you want to have enough signatures, if you wait until the last moment, you may run short. And in that case, no matter what efforts you have put into it, they've gone down the tubes if you don't have the 150 good signatures for a townwide position or 25 for a council seat.
Linda, is there anything else you'd like to add about the nomination papers or any other information that people might need to know?
No, the only thing is individuals who are in Precinct 10 and Precinct 12 need to be on the alert, as well as those who are in Precinct 5. All 3 of those precincts are going to be voting in a different location. With the schools closing this year, we've had to make some mad changes to get everybody into a location, and I'm so pleased and happy that Cape Cod Academy has come forward and are willing to take in Precinct 5 in Osterville, and the Barnstable school system has been more than willing to allow us to use the Horace Mann Charter School in Marston's Mills, the one adjacent to the, I believe it's now going to be called the Barnstable West Villages Elementary School. So it will be the newer of the 2 schools in the gym there for 10 and 12. And 5 will be at Cape Cod Academy. So we've got people switching around, so I know there will be individuals who will be confused. But
those nomination papers, again, have to be in by July the 27th, and if you haven't already, a dog license must be on your dog at this time.
If you'd like some more information for anything involving the town clerk's office or anything related to the town, just head to our website, town.barnstable.ma.us. For Kevin Friel, I'm Andrew Robeel. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great night.